we had this dog, Seamus, and Seamus was my wife's parents' dog, and he was an Irish Terrier, very regal looking dog, but he was nearly a tyrant at times and didn't care what anybody said and did whatever. And I thought that that was kind of cool, like personality wise, of what's really going on in golf a little bit. If you think about it, is like you present as such, but really once you get out there and play the game, like nobody's doing that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Whole Story. Robby here. Excited about today's episode where I got to chat with a new friend, Akbar Chisti, the man, he and his wife, the founders of Seamus Golf. You're probably familiar with their head covers, their ball markers, the bags, a lot of the accessories and stuff. They are blowing it up. If you've been to any like the resort courses or any really popular course out there, they probably have a lot of their product in stock, and you can see it. Our good buddy Jeff Marsh, and we joked about this. If you watch Jeff Marsh, every now and then he'll show that he's collected another Seamus ball marker. I think he's over 100 now. So they make really great stuff. Really cool story of how they started it, and they have gotten to do some really exciting things at some exciting places. So I think you guys will like this episode. As always, we are brought to you by our friends at Summit Golf Brands, B. Dratty, and Zero Restriction and Fairway and Green. Their fall stuff is about to come out. It's really good. Excited to get my hands on some of that stuff. All their stuff is really good. If you check out any of their websites, they have given you, our listeners or viewers, a 20% discount. Use BestBall20 again at any of those sites and get you some good stuff. Another friend of the program, Western Birch. Their golf tees are incredible. I'm on a road trip right now. I'm actually in St. Louis, about to go hang with my friends at Gimme Golf Club. But yeah, I've been scattering some Western Birch golf tees all over the place with the Best Ball logo, but you can get custom ones yourself. Go to westernbirch.com, enter Best Ball in the shipping cart, and you get a free gift with your order. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode of The Whole Story with Akbar with Seamus Golf. Guest today on the Whole Story podcast, a new friend from the opposite side of the country, Akbar Chisti. Everybody knows Seamus Golf. So Akbar, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Robby. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to get to chat with you.
Absolutely. Well, Seamus Golf obviously needs not much of an introduction, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I want your story, right? When did you get into golf? When did you start playing and fall in love with the game?
Oh, well, I come from a family that didn't have golf in it, and so I'm very fortunate in the way that I found it because, my dad, he played cricket and squash and tennis. His family's from Pakistan. Both my parents are, and in Pakistan they don't have golf. I mean, they have a golf course or two, but he would always pass on the opportunity to go play. And for me, I got introduced because we had a family friend who offered to take me out, and I was maybe 10 or 11. And through that, we had a neighbor who used to tinker with clubs, this old dude in his garage, and I'd go and check it out, and he built me my first set. But my first swing of a golf club was in a park, and I made a club with a stick and actually like a doorstop. I taped it together. My parents were like, they saw that and they're like, maybe we should get this guy some clubs and do this more. And so, it was kind of fun because my dad didn't play. He started playing after taking me to a few lessons. He's like, it looks pretty hard, but I think I might want to try this. And so, I formed a cool relationship with my dad in that way, is that we both started golf at the same time. And it kind of became a family affair. And I think that was kind of a cool thing because my little brother started playing too. And so we play these local little courses here, played in like Oregon Golf Association state tournaments and stuff. I never really won a lot. I mean, at the height of my golfing career, I was a 2 handicap. and that was maybe as a senior in high school playing high school golf. And through this OGA thing, it was really cool because like I met so many people I wasn't going to meet, and because I wasn't really beating people, I just ended up making a lot of friends. Um, and to me, it's like my best community is this golf that I met through this, and I really enjoyed it. And so they had opportunities to do other things in golf. So, I took camps, and then I would help teach camps and first tee 13, 14. My mentor, Rob Croskrey at Rock Creek Country Club, he was one who was really all about passing on the game to the youth and had a really good instilled uh, youth program there. And so we'd get chances to go caddy, and I caddied in the USAM when Tiger won it. I didn't caddy for Tiger Woods. I caddied for a fellow who didn't make the cut, but that meant I got tickets to go watch every day of match play. And so I followed Tiger Woods and was there when he threw his arms in the air. And then I pretty much was like, it's only golf for me from this point on. And golf kind of evolved. Am I going too deep here? Because after that is when I really,
Love
if
it.
that was what got me into golf, like, having that opportunity at a pretty impressionable age. I think 96, I would have been 13 years old. And then again, Band and Dunes showed up, and up until then, I was probably 15 or 16 when I first played Band and Dunes. It was $35. It was October. My whole family went. We stayed in one room, piled up,
You
and
just made a lot
my
of people
mom.
jealous that way.
Oh, well, $35. Yeah, it was $35 to play Band and Dunes on the first like kind of fall season as an Oregonian. That was the rate, and we didn't know what we were going to go do. Um, and we played it, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is amazing!" But I kind of like was like, "That's the best golf course I've ever played," and I don't know if I'll ever get back down there. And then they opened Pacific Dunes, and that was in 2001. It was right after I graduated high school, and I wasn't doing anything. And I mean, I was going to go to Portland State University, but I had the summer, and I went down with my dad again, a friend of his, and my little brother, and we played it. And I was like, "This is it. This is incredible. I've never seen anything like this." I mean, to this day, I still think about it. It was the first time I'd seen art in a golf course, which was kind of another thing I was always into. Um, and so when I got out and done with that round in the shop, there was a pro, and he's like, I just went on and on about like, I've never seen anything like this. This is incredible. He's like, well, if you ever wanted to work here, we have nobody to work here. And my dad was there. He's like, you need to pack your shit up and go. I was like, what about my mom's gonna be pissed? And he's like, I'll deal with that. Let's go. You need to you need to do this. And so I went home, packed my stuff. Next day, came back down, couch surfed it for a summer, caddied, worked in the shop, and I was like, at that point, like I was like, I'm with all these people in golf. I could work in this. This could be really cool. And I loved it. And so I actually was unable to find places to stay. This is 2001, so it's just Bandon Dunes and Pacific Dunes. Which you said you'd never been there.
Yeah. Haven't been yet.
Oh man! By the end of this, I hope to encourage you even just a slight bit more to make the
Oh,
journey.
it's high on the bucket list. We'll ask later what's on your bucket list, and that one for a lot of our guests. But for me personally, Abandon's high on my list, and
Oh,
yeah, it'll happen soon enough.
well, I mean, I think some people say they have a spiritual shift when they go there. And I think it's just like when you go to Scotland or Ireland. I mean, when you go into these places, you're thinking about all kinds of stuff. By the time you leave it, you're thinking about a lot less. Um, and for me, I was down there, had this experience of just like working, 5 to 2, caddy 2 to 7, play 7 to 10:30 every day, right? Or on days off, caddy twice, play twice, or just everything was just all golf all day. And So anyhow, there was nowhere to stay, so I found a property there, double wide, that was like just next to where Trails is presently, and I encouraged my family to get together and buy this thing. It's 5 acres. So I told all my friends, and I was like, we're gonna pile on top of each other. As many as six of us lived in a 2 bedroom, double wide. It became an extension of the caddy shack, and I did that for a few summers. And then my little brother, who's a few years behind me, did that for a few summers. Um, and it kind of has always been a part of what I do. Is like it's a long drive, but my whole lifestyles around trying to go to band. And even if I don't play, sometimes I just go and hang out. And there's like crabbing and fishing and just whatever. But I really truly love that part of the country and our state. And so um, I didn't really play a whole lot of golf after I left there, though. I started in accounting and I worked in public accounting, and I ended up getting a job at KPMG. Um, and in that process was kind of like missing golf for a bit, did that for a while. I met my wife and she got a really good job working at Pendleton Wool. But we worked a bunch into the recession, and that was when both of our jobs kind of like were not quite right. I was working for a real estate developer, and all the properties were getting foreclosed, and Megan was designing apparel, and it was all getting cut. And the most peculiar thing is I'd always wanted to start my own business, and I always was like, I'm gonna have to get back to golf somehow because I'm not anywhere near it. And so we dabbled with this idea of head covers, and it was really just because I had one. My dad had brought back from Royal Troon, and it was tartan, and I liked it a lot and got a lot of compliments on it. And she went to fix it, and then she started making them. She started making them with scrap wool from Pendleton, and to make that work, we had to kind of design our own head cover, which is a barrel style with a single seam downside. And we never like patented it or anything. We were like, nobody's buying these now. They're never really gonna buy them ever. And now it's like the basis for the design for anything from Gumtree to Malvin to Callaway to everybody uses that same design head cover, which was kind of like, I never thought we could design something like that. And the nice thing for us is we were just fixated on one thing. So like most of those are serving different golfers, and I only care about the golfer that connects with places like Bandon Dunes in the way that I do. And so we just kind of like started designing more products. And I love metalsmithing. In Pakistan, my mom's family has a surgical instruments factory where they still hand forge a lot of parts, and I'd seen that growing up. And I met a blacksmith here, who just was making bottle openers, working in a co-op, and he was making this beautiful art, and he was so committed to his art. And I went to him and I was like, hey, do you would you ever make something custom for me? And he's like, well, yeah. I was like, well, this is a thing that you put in a green and you can fix a mark. Like, can you make this? He's like, a divot tool. And I'm like, yeah, you know about golf? And he's like, yeah, I'm like an 8 handicap. So like, so then I was like, okay, cool. Well, like, can you make this other thing, like a ball marker? Like, this would be really cool. And it was really expensive. Until then I was collecting poker chips myself. And and then we started making medals, which ranged now to like trophies and other things. So we kind of have this two things going on. It's like there's the cut and the sew, and there's the hand forging. And the big thing that's happened in the time that we started to now that I think is the only reason we've been successful, only reason, is because of the growth in the category of this golf, right? So when we started, Bandon Dunes had 4 courses and no punch bowl, no preserve, no shorties, no no sheep ranch. There was no Sand Valley. There was no Stream Song. There was no Cabot Links. There was no redesigns of all these golf courses. There was no Sweetens Cove. There was no Gill Hill. There was nothing that really was connecting in this strange way with like the absolute avid core golfer. And then you have COVID, which like you have this proliferation of brands that brought more golfers into it, right? And then those guys come in, they're starting to be like, man, now I want to go play St. Andrews. I want to go play wherever, you know. And we've been fixated in this one category that like was very small, and it's grown quite a bit. Now golf has grown, but our category is growing too. And so I have to say this is probably the most exciting time in golf I've ever been in. Like I think that there's been times where I'm like, when is golf going to change? Like this is tough. But you know, now I'm like, look at all the great progress and things that have happened to make golf even palatable to a normal human being.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's fun watching it. I think, a line on your website says crafting trend-setting golf accessories while staying true to the authentic spirit of the sport. I think that kind of fits very well with, like you said, just the growth and the excitement around golf now, where people want their customization, to allow their personalities to come out while still playing a game that's been around for a long time. And I think you've blended those things well, uh, and allowed people an opportunity to express that personality while out on the course. So, what are your takes on that?
About our impact on how
Yeah, I
people
mean,
can
I
express.
think y'all are playing a big role in allowing people to show off personality.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that like um that that part of it has always been a challenge, right? Because golf has always had stigmas and parameters surrounding what you can wear and what you can't wear when you go golf. Um and there's definitely a part of it where like, you know, your bag is like the only thing that you have complete control over, and you can do anything you want. And it's the reason so many head covers go in the trash, right? Like, because it's like, well, I kind of want to use something that makes sense to me. And you know, when you put your bags and you're on your trip, like I remember when I started and I didn't have anything unique. And I remember walking to my bag and picking it up and being like, dude, that's my bag. Like I'm not even knowing. And I'd be like, there's no, should I put a pink ribbon on this thing or what? You know, like,
Like the
um,
luggage coming off the carousel at the airport.
right. And I mean, I really love the companies that were making leather stuff before me too. Like there was like Jan Craig and like Iliac was making very cool leather head covers. And those were great, but I was like, man, you know, when you go to Scotland or Ireland, you get a tartan wool thing. And like I always loved that because a tartan has so much story to it. Um and then when you go to Pendleton, like these stories from this wool there, like I just felt like this was a Scottish family that came from there and ended up doing this. And like there's something there about repping this on the course. And these are functionally just menswear fabrics, you know, Harris tweeds and things that we see all the time in fashion. And if you put it on the course, it's like it had, because these materials are so timeless, like and they're so culturally driven, um that it very much so looks at place on a golf course, and looks like it's been there forever, but its design is like very modern if you think about it, the way it functions. So um I could see how like by just poking a hole into the system as to like what you could do and couldn't do with head covers, which is an often seen thing, um that it could have inspired like well, there's other things that could be done too here. And I think that we certainly play a part in what this change was. I couldn't tell you to what extent, but I always maintain that, you know, there, this is about the most important thing when you go to play golf. If you seek to connect with people and the game, is how you represent yourself. And if you're not being you, then you're not swinging like you, and you're not doing your thing. There's a connection between the way you feel when you go and play golf and how you do.
Yeah, I completely agree. We always say golf is people, and we were talking before recording. You have a podcast now, and you were talking with Ryan O'Meara, and I got to meet him through multiple connections of people. I got to hang out with him some, and we just interviewed Trevor Larson recently with Larson Golf Company. Like just the personalities of people that love this game and getting to hang out and enjoy people for who they are, I think is the best part about golf, right? Right. It's you show up on a buddy's trip and you get to hang out for a couple of days. Like you were just recently at Gamble Sands, and I know you were there with Ryan and some other folks. Scott Brooks, I believe, might have been out there. And I mean, that's just the best part of the game, right? Just hanging out with your friends.
Oh man, it is. And yeah, I've been doing this podcast just recently, and um Ryan has been a friend, but also I've seen him transform his golf course, a family business, and you know, having a front seat to that was incredible. And to get to be part of talking about his story, because he doesn't like to talk about it. He's that awesome of a human, really. And it was special. And you talk about Trevor. I mean, I just met Trevor just at the show, I think, last year, and I love what he's doing, both with Power Built and with his own passion for swinging persimmon. But but yeah, I mean, and getting to go to freaking Gamble Sands. I mean, we were trying to go and play when it opened. We were like, can we get like a group of 16 out? And they're like, no, we can't. Booked. I'm like, what about before? They're like, uh, let me ask somebody. Okay, sure. Yeah, we can get you out before it opens. I'm like, okay, that sounds just fine. And then they were like, well, we'll get you out, and they're such great hosts. I've been going there since they opened. It was, I think, Oren Vincent, the OB Sports was kind of leading it all and pulling together brands and things to support the opening, and we were there for that. And that's probably the first time I really got to spend much time with David McClay Kidd. And since then, I've watched that property actually struggle in the beginning, to the extent that it was even, I think, for sale. And then COVID boom came through, and 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 by working with David and watching his career go, really Gamble Sands redefined the architecture language for the present day. I mean, there's not one architect that hasn't drawn inspiration from what he did at Gamble to increase playability for the average golfer. And every one of them is trying to figure out this equation of like, can we do that and still have it be challenging for uh, an accomplished golfer who's seeking to break par, right? And the new course is very different from the first course in that none of the same team was on it. I was catching up with Nick Shawn, who's the lead shaper for it. It's a much more severe property, almost like Plantation Course in Maui. But the routing that he did to make it work is incredible. It's very old world, and it's the kind of thing you'd see in Scotland or Ireland. The greens are just Ballyneal or Royal County Downish, and then the routing is like pretty genius in my opinion. I don't design golf courses, but like I just have reference points of like, this thing of what I've done is the coolest thing is I've gotten to play this golf with these people and experience these courses. And I think what they did there by adding a second course, and they also have quicksands, which is like a 13 or 14 hole course. I can't remember how long it is. They have like a really good setup. It's a bit of a drive, it's a bit of a distance, but it's piqued the interest of friends of mine who are like, yeah, we're wanting to go check out a new course, and we love what we saw at Mammoth Dunes, and we obviously love Bandon Dunes, and so it's definitely become a spot that I think is you got to check out.
Yeah, got to go to. Well, let's go back to your stuff. Hey, one, where'd the name Seamus come from? Like, how did you land
Um,
that as the brand name?
I mean, we had this dog, Seamus, and Seamus was my wife's parents' dog, and he was an Irish Terrier. He looked like like a show dog almost of an Irish Terrier. He's built really well, very regal looking dog, but he was nearly a tyrant at times and didn't care what anybody said and did whatever. And I thought that that was kind of cool, like personality wise, of what's really going on in golf a little bit. If you think about it, is like you present as such, but really once you get out there and play the game, like nobody's doing that. And so he was around a lot, and then there's a book called Golf in the Kingdom, which is where I'd kind of first crossed the name. There's the character Seamus McDuff. So like the name kind of like comes up a couple times for me. And Seamus McDuff was this elusive pro who was a super nerd, like just out there guy. Lives in a cave on, burning bush, and I was just like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, we
I
got
love
this
it.
dog here. We got the so.
I love it. All right, so you've got head covers. Obviously, you're crushing that space, and then the ball markers we talked about. Our mutual friend Jeff Marsh, who's an avid collector of all the Seamus markers he can get his hands on. You've got golf bags. Like, what are other things like what's next? I guess for you guys, and are there ways to continue improving on what you're already doing very well?
Um, you know, that's a challenge. I mean, I think that for me, what I see right now is there's so many new golf brands and golf courses coming up that there's just an ongoing opportunity to partner in some way with the cool brands that are coming in. And then there's also like a ton of destination golf courses that are going in, whether public or private. And I've been kind of focused on trying to take good care of those because many of those are being run by people who came from other courses or places we've worked with. And we really like to be part of that experience of when you go to a special place to pick up something that's worth holding on to. I think we do that really well. As to like the kinds of products that we make, I mean, it's really a reflection of what we see as opportunities in golf, but it's a little different than like what, you know, because we're mostly serving golf shops, right? And so that's different than like just trying to do things online and with the consumer that way. And so, as we get going forward, I mean, one of the things that I wish we still had that we sort of lost as we went to scale is the ability to really do custom stuff. Like, because we're doing such at scale that like I really would like to bring back our like custom ability to do things for a golfer, not like a collection of golfers. And so, I think as people go to uniquely identify their bags, like we still want to stay close to that. Um, but I'm really proud of the fact that I'm still in business and 14 years of doing it, and running a business. It's a small business. This is not a huge business. Is hard, and if there's anything I'd like to do is to keep doing it.
Yeah,
It's not fucking up. Like
yeah.
I just want to keep doing it. Please, it'd be great.
That's what everybody wants. Do something and then keep doing it. Uh,
Yes.
well, you talked about some of the experiences or like the people and connections you've made. I've seen, and actually, I don't think you were stationed there at the time, but you're getting into some of these like major tournaments in their merch shops. And we were at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst, and we see, oh
Oh
look,
yeah.
there's the Seamus table, or you got your anvil there, or whatever, and you're ready to punch some markers for people or do whatever it's called. But tell us about some of those experiences that have come up.
Well, I mean, the USGA is amazing. love the USGA, and honestly found it to be something amazing at a young age, right? Because I saw the USGA up and close, the US Amateur, pretty young, and so ever since then, I've always like had this regard for the events that they put on and what it does, like to inspire golfers, right? And so, um, the way we started doing that stuff was really just luck. I mean, we had Chambers Bay was in 2015, and we were a local purveyor that was just selected from the shop of offerings at Chambers Bay at the time, which we had some friends that had moved there to work from Bandon Dunes. And so when we did Chambers Bay, we proposed this idea where we would activate in the retail setting. So like at the time it was like you could get something embroidered, or they had like this engraving station for bag tags. And I was like, oh, well, we'll just bring the anvil and we'll hammer everybody's ball marks. And she's like, really? Can you do that? And I was like, yeah, yeah, I think we can do that. And I had no clue what that meant.
Yeah.
Um, and not just because I didn't know how to do it, but also because I didn't know that we would be doing that for the next 10 years. Right. So, so we all got really good at hammering. And we ran out of ball marks and we ran out of bag tags when we were at Chambers Bay, and they were like, would you like to come back to Oakmont in 2016? And we did, and since then, we prepare every year as though we're trying to get it, and we've gotten to do the US Open every year since 2015. And when you do that, like, that changes your opportunities so much, like, because there's all the past sites and the future sites of all the USGA events that we would meet and end up doing stuff with them. And then other buyers of events would take notice. So we've done the Players, the RBC Heritage, we've done I've done the BMW Championship. We then ended up with the Masters. This year we had the Masters, which was amazing. Um, and so it I don't know. I don't even know how it all happened really, but yeah, I
Yeah.
it's been incredible.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like if you're going to continue the trend of being at the U.S. Opens, you should go ahead and work on Scotty Scheffler's Grand Slam there for Shinnecock next year, because there's a good chance he can finish it off, and you'll be there. So
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's incredible to see when a player gets that good, you know. Um and and he's definitely defining this time right now.
yeah,
I have to say I wanted Rory to win, and I'm still getting over it because I thought it would be cool.
yeah, yeah. No, another hometown guy winning would be fun.
But the Grand Slam is the thing, and if he does that, like, it's pretty much like that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you've had a front row to a lot of good golf, I imagine. Tell us about the tagline or motto, "Far and Sure." Where did that come from? What does it mean?
Um, I I I think it has a lot of history to it. I first heard it. Um, my the assistant pro at Pacific Dunes would sign off. Nick Pike, he'd say "Foreign shirt, Nick," and I was like, "Whoa, that's cool. What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's this old golf motto, yada yada." I didn't ever really remember it. And then Alex Maselli, writer in golf, would sign off with that, and he gave me a ball marker that was wooden once that said "Far and Sure" on it. I was like, "Gosh, this is cool." I'd heard about that, whatever. Then I went to Scotland. I went to St. Andrews, and I went and saw old Tom Morris's grave, and I said, "Wow, his grave says Far and Sure. That means something." And I have only heard it a couple of times, and I was like Nerdsville on it. Jeff Shackelford knew a whole lot about it. He wrote a whole piece, and we talked about it, and I was just like, I'm just gonna like put it on everything. And for a time, Chicago Golf Club people were like, "Well, you're stealing our motto," and this and that. And I'm like, fuck no, I'm not. This ain't your motto. This is nobody's motto. This is Tom Morris's motto. And
Well,
I'm not trademarking it. I'm not doing nothing. And I think quite honestly that like it is one of the greatest phrases that you can encourage your golf friends to go and do their game. Far and sure. Have a great day, you know? Um and so, you know, it's not necessarily unique to me, and quite honestly, it's part of why I don't see anything as unique to me. I mean, we're literally just an interpretation of golf and regurgitated in the brand. And I mean, I could never think of anything better than Far and Sure. I spent a lot of time thinking about it.
yeah. If it works for Tom Morris, I'm guessing it works for you guys as well. So, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. Well, what's next? I mean, is there any like big things coming up for you guys?
Um, I think that for us, like we're right now is July, right? So it's in the middle of the summer,
Hot.
and our peak season is from April to July, really. Of like, it's all, a lot of northern states, a lot of the golfers are walking. That's kind of like what where our focus is, and so we've got the PGA show in Frisco next week. So we get to meet with a bunch of cool folks there. They actually put on a really good event. I like this one as a exhibitor more than any other show I've worked. Um, and you know, the Orlando one's tough because it's so big, but this one, like, you get to hang out with the PGA guys, and they try to put on a good thing because they have like, you know, they have like a short course there. I don't know. Have you ever been there?
No, not yet.
They built a really cool facility with a putting course and stuff. So they put on an evening where you're hanging out with the buyers and you're putting, and I mean, it's really a fun thing. So I'm looking forward to that. We've got U.S. Women's Am at Bannon after that. It's looking like I'll be at the U.S. The Walker Cup at Cypress Point. I'm looking forward to that, and just working. I love working.
Yeah, playing a little golf in between.
Well, it has to. You know, you kind of, it's part of the deal.
It
But it's very fortunate time for us. Just like I said, of where golf's at, that like we just are happy to be here and doing this and just want to keep doing it, you know. Um
No, that's cool. Well, as we start to close, we ask everybody to tell us the story of your most memorable golf shot.
um it would be at Rock Creek when I was maybe 12. I had a hole in one. It's number 3, and it was 167 yards, and I hit my 4 iron. And I was with my uncle Booput. He was visiting from LA with my dad and my little brother. And I bladed it, and it went straight at the bunker, hit the lip, kicked straight right, and went in.
Hole in one.
There you go. So, and it counted. So my dad had to buy drinks for everybody. I had a Shirley Temple. He was like, I did not know that's how this goes. People showed up to the bar.
That has got to be the worst tradition for a really cool moment. Is like everybody should be buying you a drink.
Yeah. It's not how
I
it
think it's
works.
so backward.
That's not how it works.
Yep. All right. Quick nine. We roll through 9 quick questions, kind of a rapid fire, but you can expound on them as much as you want. First one, favorite course that you've ever played?
Ah. Um, you know, I've always got that connection to Pacific Dunes, which is kind of, you know, there. I I feel so boring when I say that, but
I don't know. Favorite, your favorite, right? It can be your favorite for a number of different reasons. So I love it.
yeah.
I mentioned Bandon's on our bucket list. What's on your bucket list?
Um, I haven't been to the Southeast
Come
in a
on.
while, and so I mean, whether it's Pinehurst number 10, Tobacco Road, Pine Needles, I mean, and then if somehow I could negotiate it, Tree Farm, Old Barnwell, there's just like a Hoopy Match Club. I haven't been to Sweetens Cove. Uh, I want to go meet the guys at Gimme. Like, I just want to go hang out with them. There's there's so much to do, so little time. But the Southeast is the area though that like I have not um done a whole lot of golf in. Like I went to Sea Island and worked an event. I thought it was cool. The course looked great. I've worked RBC Heritage. I've seen it. I've worked the Sawgrass. I've not played it, and so there's just a bunch of golf down there, and I love the vibe. And that's like categorically a lot of different places in an area, but like, I have to start chipping away at it because I think that like there's just so much good stuff. Cuba Island, I mean, not, I don't, this is a whole area.
Let me know when you're coming. I can maybe help coordinate some of those for you.
We should,
Yeah, we'll just
yes,
do like a trade off. We'll be like long distance pen pals. You come play here, I'll come play there, and
yes.
all right. What's the best course that no one knows about?
Um, well, so much has been documented, and for a time, I had my personal favorite secrety golf courses. Right? I mean, I remember one time I lost my job. I was working in accounting, and we had a friend who was at Pebble Beach, a pro, and we drove down there because he said he could get us out. We drove down there, visited a bunch of friends. We get to him, and he's like, "Actually, I can't get you out." And so I turned around with my little brother, and we're like, "Well, what was that Pacific Grove that everybody was talking about?" And we went and we just played the back nine there. So we drove all the way to Pebble Beach, played the back nine at Pacific Grove, and I was like, this is incredible. And at the time, nobody talked about it, and I still think people don't really quite talk about it. But as far as like, whoa, we came here and we did this, I love that. And I actually felt completely fulfilled because I was like, this is cool. I thought that that was amazing, and I still to this day haven't played Pebble Beach. I've been there a dozen times, but I've never played it. And then the other place I would say, if Ireland was it, I was revealed to me was Critch Island, which is effectively like Cypress Point, 9 hole, built in 1984, maybe the best golf course in the world built in the 1980s as to what an experience it is as to compared to the 35 euros you pay to play it. Um, and yeah, there's probably a bazillion more, but those are both ones that were like $30 to play, blew my mind.
Yeah, and it probably has a lot to do with who you were with too. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Who's in your dream foursome?
Um, well, I always have enjoyed playing with my dad and my little brother. And then you always have to leave some room for a host. So it's my dream threesome.
That is a good. Definitely, I love it. All right. What is your walk-up song when you get to the first tee?
It's the Augusta theme, the Masters theme.
Very nice. Very nice.
Pretty hardcore.
Yeah. All right. Favorite club in the bag? Maybe it's the driver because you can pull off your own head cover.
I just got my pitching wedge back, and I realized it was my favorite club in my bag because I was playing Gamble Sands trying to hood my 9 iron the whole time, and I really like my pitching wedge. It got mixed up, and my buddy had it, and he went back to Nashville and mailed it back. But I
I
got it
know.
after the trip, so I like my pitching wedge.
I love it. All right. Favorite snack on the course?
Beef jerky.
Any certain kind or?
Um, well, I audited a Tillamook country smoker. It was a client of mine, and I really would sit on bags of jerky and count numbers, and I really like their jerky. But it's become such a thing now where people have to make really fancy jerky, and it doesn't matter what it is; it's going to be good.
All right. Favorite golf course logo?
It's always been San Francisco Golf Club.
Are they
Uh,
a client?
what's that?
Are they a client?
Yeah, but I thought the typography in that logo left so much to be thought about because it has these like little serpenty parts to it, and then part of it looks like a bone. I I just think that the typography of it's incredible.
Nice. All right, final question. The best part of golf is what?
You said it's being with your friends. I mean, this is it. And making friends, whatever. It's a pastime with people. This is so good.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on our podcast. Tell everybody where to find your podcast, what it's called, and maybe what's in store.
Oh, my podcast is just coming along. It's Overseed Capital, and we just talk about business and life. And I really have enjoyed just chatting with people. But by any stretch, if you get through all of the best ball podcasts, all of them, then maybe you can try listening to it for a little bit.
I listen to the one that's been on right now, at least by the time we're recording, the one with, and it's
Yeah.
well, a great name, big logo, like
Well, Landon Sorgenstein, he's the one who produced it, and he's the one who encouraged me to do it. And it takes that kind of support and hearing from people like you that it's great. And so, I just hope to catch up with some people that are in golf, like you. And I mean, their stories tell themselves.
yeah,
It's so great.
connections you've made and the friends that come along the way because of this game, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we leave, tell everybody where to find Seamus and where to find all your good stuff.
Yes, so our website is Seamus Golf, SEAMUSGOLF.com. And we have some of our product there, although it's not always well stocked. We have to do that better. I think the best places to find it is in some of these destination places you go to play. And and whether it's Bannon or Big Cedar or Pebble or Stream Song and some of these great private clubs. If you're getting out to play, my goal is that you would see us.
Yes, I agree. Well, yeah. Next time you're at your favorite golf destination, be sure in the pro shop, typically right by the register. It's not one of those impulse buys, but when you see it, you're going to want it anyway. But grab a ball marker from Seamus, and you will definitely recognize it because they're really really good. So, Akbar, thanks, man. It's been fun to chat
Thank
with
you,
you.
Robby.
Appreciate you coming on the whole story.